Any bits? Nah, fuck it.
We got loads of bits, actually.
Yeah, but a bit to start with.
I've got a bit to start with.
Cool, stop covering your mouth. This is an audio mic.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Sorry. Let me think how to do it. Okay.
Hey, Hector.
A woman enters the battlefield.
Oh.
She stares at her opponent.
Okay.
She sees her coming towards her across the other side of the Emporium. Well, that's not what it's Colosseum. Yeah, the Colosseum.
Sure
what do you call that?
It's a Colosseum, but are you sure this is the bit you want to do?
Yeah, why not?
We probably have female listeners.
Yeah, this is the bit I want to do.
Okay, I'll let you do it. I won't stop you.
She stares across the Colosseum. Her opponent stands before her, double D cup, jiggling breasts. She thinks to herself, God, those are at least twice the size of mine.
She looks down at her B minus.
And then they both enter the stadium, and the man in the middle says,
What does he say?
He says, hang on.
Go on, Hector. You created this sexist fantasy. You can finish it.
Caw, calls a little pair of breasts from up on high.
It was a Tweety Bird pair of breasts.
Down below, we see some breasts, so small yet pleasing to the eye.
Is this Shakespeare?
The two great breasts battle it out, none too sure who's a bigger. But as the crowd applauds, we find out that it was neither.
Wow.
That was it, yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Nethergreen podcast. I'm just thinking about the breasts now. Yeah. I'm a little bit hard, Hector. You did this to me. Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the podcast. I am your host, Bradley.
And I am your other host.
Hector, you're the breast of us. Oh, shit.
And I am the other host, Hector.
Yeah. And we're not joined by your brother today, Leander.
No.
Is there any reason why? Or we just didn't invite him?
He's dead.
He's dead. Smothered.
Breast, yes. With giant breasts, yeah. He went into battle knowing that his breasts were not.
Here's a question. By the way, this episode we're going to be reviewing Echo mainly. Are we going to establish where the breast stuff's coming from?
We will as we go through what happened, yeah.
Well, let's start with the little bits, as always. Do-do-do-do. It's time for the little bits. Do-do-do-do. With Hector and Bradley. Do-do-do-do. What do you think of that?
I think it's reminiscent of a 1960s throwback to podcasting era from Western Germany.
You mean like radio?
Yeah.
As podcasts. on that.
There could be podcasts.
No, the definition of a podcast is it has to be an internet thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
but internet is just...
What is it?
What is internet?
Internet is like a force of nature. Think of it almost like a perfectly rounded breast.
It's glistening.
Jiggling in the air.
Yeah. The sun glazes gently upon her giant breasts.
Yeah. Is this going to be an immature episode as opposed to a very mature?
This is mature content.
This is mature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of breast references throughout this episode.
This is going to be our breast episode ever. It's going to be better than all the breast. But what have you done anything since we last spoke? We're doing this consistently, audience. This is going to be a weekly thing. We did I think the longest streak of weekly episodes we've ever had is like 8. And it was when we first started.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just 8. Actually, that is still quite a lot. That's 8 weeks in a row. That's 2 months. 2 solid months.
Yeah, but we've been doing it for 3 years.
Okay. In the context of that is not that long.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Isn't it insane we've been doing it for 3 years? We started in 2021.
Yeah. Actually, not too insane. I mean, what is a podcast other than just a conversation? We've had a lot more than...
No, we have, but like the conversations for Nethergreen, the idea of Nethergreen itself.
I suppose so.
It's 3 years old. And we've never celebrated it.
It lasted longer than Tensile.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
This is not only that, but it's going to outlive us, as we've said. Our children.
We're going to pass
children.
it down to our children, and then they'll pass it down to their daughters, and their daughters will have to battle to death
with their
breasts. Yeah, it'll be a competition.
I don't want to think about granddaughters' breasts. Because one day I'm going to actually have a granddaughter, maybe, and then I'm going to have like a Vietnam acid flashback to this conversation one day when she turns 18. And I'm going to be like, oh no, what have I done?
Just know when she turns 18, you have to introduce her to the way of the world. And the way of the world is that she with the biggest breasts is she with the biggest
breasts. No, not only will I probably never have a granddaughter, but by the time she turns 18, I'll probably be very dead.
Or very old.
Yeah, but... I mean, have I ever told you about that? I don't. I think the idea of being like
100,
not even 100, like 80, is like it's basically as soon as you get old enough where people start looking at you and they're kind of like, like you see old people on the bus sometimes. I do all the time. You must where you look over to them and you do kind of a double take and you're like, Jesus Christ! Like,
that's what you think.
A gentle breeze could probably kill that man.
Yeah. I think 80 is like the limit, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I was talking to my little sister about that. She was like, "Nah, I want to live as long as I possibly can. I'd live to 120," and I was like, "Why? Have you not experienced life?"
20 years of just between the ages of 100 and 120, that would be 20 years.
If you live to 120, there's a chance that 40 years of your life was spent with your grandchild or carer wiping your ass.
Yeah. God, I didn't want that. No.
Imagine 40 years of that.
No.
Yeah.
We're born here to die. To live and to die.
Exactly.
Okay.
Our only purpose is to not have any and to eventually end.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Exactly. And
welcome to episode 37 again. It's nice to have you all here. Death is inevitable. But yeah, have you done anything this week? I went back to work.
How was that?
Oh, it's hell. It's a living hell.
That was going to be the answer.
Yeah.
We tried to go to the gym. We tried to go to the gym. Yeah.
Well, let me clear that up, I guess. So, I got a gym membership because it had a special promotion where there was no joiner's fee, and also, in my opinion, and I've been told differently, I don't know if I have body dysmorphia, I think I'm a very fat man. And I would like...
Have you seen some fat people?
I think I hide it well. But audience, you obviously won't see this. But this isn't the stomach of like a fit man.
It's not the stomach of an obese fat man.
Not obese, admittedly, but fat. And it's mainly, I don't even care about the stomach that much. My main reason for going to the gym is that I want to get rid of this. I have a little bit of a double chin. That isn't that prominent when I'm like this, but if I'm sat back, yeah, you see it.
I mean, everyone, even if I...
Okay, but you're forcing it. That's so
you
clear.
were forcing it. Yeah, there's no double chin there.
I can see it. I can see it. But no, I see it in pictures too all the time. Basically, and not only that, but my cheeks, my face is full of fat.
To be fair, that's the first thing that most people notice. Like, if like really overweight people start going to the gym, you notice it in their face first.
Yeah. And yeah, that's my main goal. Yeah. So I did that, and then I was like, Hector, you should join a gym with me. And you were like, oh, I probably will. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you got till midnight, no finder's fee, joiner's fee. It's not finder's fee. They've been found. People have found them. But yeah, you were like, that sounds sick. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you didn't.
And then I didn't.
You didn't.
Yeah, no.
You could.
Then I went to bed and it was late, so I completely forgot to talk about it with my girlfriend. So then the next day we talked about it and I was like, actually, now that I think about it, we're going to have to get the bus there and back. And that is unironically going to cost more than the gym membership itself. And then that with the gym membership, and I only have like 100 quid spending to last me the rest of this month. So I was like, nah, we can't do it. But we then got on the bus, thinking that we'd be able to.
Yeah, because I thought, because I got like a good membership where, because they have like 3 levels. Level 1 is off-peak hours, which is like 12 till 9, and then it's like fucking 9 p.m. till 12, whatever. I want to go after work. I want to be home, in bed, asleep, going me by 6:30.
Yeah.
And and that's peak hours. So I got the second level, and I thought with the second level that there was a feature, a benefit, that you could bring a guest up to 4 times a month. So I came to Hector without doing any research or checking at all. Just pure gut instinct. I came to Hector and I was like, hey, this is totally a thing. You can come 4 times this month and I want you to come with me to the gym.
And I did come, but I didn't come with you to the gym.
No. Instead, we got to my house, my hometown.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, before we go to the gym, I want to go to a nearby Home Bargains. If you've never been to Home Bargains, by the way, Home Bargains, feel free to sponsor us.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine if in the future, like 10 years, is that too long?
Dude, if we got sponsored by Home Bargains, that's it.
That'd be it. Yeah. We have made it. That should be our goal.
Yeah.
This podcast will end when it is sponsored by Home Bargains.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was like, okay, just before we go in, I need to check how you'll come in with me. If you get your own little code or whatever. And I checked, and no, I wasn't allowed to bring members. That's the 3rd level.
Yeah.
And at that point, you couldn't come, and I felt bad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh man, not only have I wasted your time, but I've also wasted a bit of my money because I bought a day rider ticket. So a single to here and then back to mine, a single to where you live is £2, and then back to mine is £2.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I want to get back to my hometown. I want to go to the gym, but then I don't want to walk home after the gym. I'll be an achy,
so you want
sweaty
to get the bus a 3rd time.
So I was going to get a bus a 3rd time, and that would be £6. And I was like, that's a lot. And then I looked at the day rider, and it was £5. And I was like, I'm saving £1.
Yeah.
That £1 was for nothing.
£1 was for nothing. So you then got the bus straight away. Yeah. And then we hypothesised, I remember, with that day rider, how far could you go? Yeah, well, not only how far, but like, they say day rider, but that's a lie because it's from midnight to 4 a.m. the next day. So that's 28 hours. Last time I checked, that's more than a day. But here's what I'm wondering. What I'm wondering is if you were to get on that bus with the day rider, how long could you stay on that bus for without the bus driver? Actually, forget the day rider. Just get on the bus with a single. Yeah. And how long could you stay on that bus for? Oh, that's a good question. Without anyone noticing. I'd have to imagine it's until because buses, once they complete a stretch of journey, they'll be like, okay, I'm going on a break, essentially. I need a piss from my penis or vagina. Yeah. It could be a vagina too. I'm not saying all bus drivers are men. Some of them could be women with giant breasts. with huge breasts. You wouldn't want to fight her. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get. You couldn't handle that. Yeah. No, you couldn't take her. I don't think I could take her. So I think the better thing to do, instead of focusing on a bus, you should focus on a driver. And you should just follow him from destination to destination. And you should learn his name. So he could be like, everyone off the bus, I need a piss. And you'd be like, Kyle, is it? Yeah, I'm Kyle, mate. See you there. Yeah. And he's like, well, I wonder what that was. He goes, you step onto the bus first thing in the morning. It's 12 o'clock. This is the midnight. First bus leaving for the day. You're the only person that's getting on that bus, and you get on and you say, hi. You introduce yourself. You say, hi, we've not met before, but my name's Bradley. Where are you going, mate? Oh, as far as you'll take me. As far as you'll take me. Yeah. Are you just appearing? No, I've just got a long day ahead of me, Carl. You'll see. Yeah. And then you just follow him. And eventually, because I like to think that bus drivers, once they're done with their day, they also get the bus home. They love buses. So you get that bus too, and you sit next to him, and you're like, what a day, huh? What a day. What a day, Carl. He's going to look to you and be like, who the fuck are you? Why are you following me? Yeah. And then you go back home and you come back the next day. And the next day you could come back with me. And then this is where things get even more interesting. We both get it's midnight and I introduce him. I'm like, Carl, this is Hector. This guy's just trying to do his job. He's just trying to drive the fucking bus. This is Hector. Hector, meet Kyle. You're gonna love Kyle. Right, and then we both buy our day riders, and you go up and say, one day rider, please. Yeah. And he says, and he knows. And he knows what's going to happen. He knows that you're going to be on that bus following him around. Or even better, I don't introduce you. You're right behind me, and he's like, oh, don't do this, mate. Oh, whatever. Yeah. Next, and you come up and you go, hi.
I'd also like a day out. And that's when I'm like, oh yeah, Kyle, you should meet Hector.
And then, and then what we do is we sit in, there's on the bus, there's always those seats that are like right next to the bus drivers.
Yeah. I hate those seats.
We're going to sit there right next to him. We're going to talk to him for the whole bus journey.
Actually, all right, do we talk to him or do we just talk loud enough to each other that he can hear?
Yeah, okay, there we go. So we only engage with him when we get on or off the bus. Yeah. And we just talk really loudly next to him throughout the whole bus journey. And to that
benefit, if he ever turns around and talks to us, we act like surprised. We're like, who are you, mate? It's not normal for a bus driver to talk to a passenger. Do your job. Face the front.
And to fuck with them even more, what we can do is we can keep having the same scripted 5 conversations on loop the entire bus journey.
That's good.
Really loud as well, permanently on loop. So by the end of the day, we've been following him, from bus to bus, buying day riders.
Having
the exact same conversations over and over and over again.
Yeah. And they should be like the worst, like the most boring. They should be so boring that he hears it 5 times and it doesn't even click. He's heard it before. He's listening to us and then he's like, hold on a minute. I know exactly what he's gonna say that. I say that. How did I know that? Am I boring?
We can script it so that it loops naturally, so that it loops perfectly into the next one, and it just loops infinitely through these 5 preset conversations.
And to fuck with him, every 7 conversations, we should switch who's saying what lines.
Oh my fucking god. Holy fuck. Dude.
So when he thinks he's clocked it, suddenly you're saying it. And at that point we're gaslighting him without him knowing. He's like, wait, has he been the one saying that the entire time? Did Bradley ever say anything?
And then by the end of the bus driver's going to push open the door. He's going to turn around and shout, what? What do you want from me?
It's going to be 10 o'clock. We've been doing it for 10 hours. We've had the same conversations 104
All
times.
of the people on the bus turn and stare at him as he's screaming at us, what do you want from me? Please.
And at that point we're just like, whoa. We're just trying to have a conversation, man.
Oh god. Yeah.
And he tries to kick us off the bus and the other passengers are sticking up for us. They're like, yo, we didn't do anything.
We didn't do anything. Yeah.
We tried to go to the gym. So, we've got a bit of track there. And but obviously you couldn't come in and you were like, you should go in alone, Bradley. And I considered it, but then I was like, well, 1, I hadn't eaten at all that day, and that's not a good thing. And 2, it was already 6:30, and again, I wanted to be in bed asleep going by 6:30. So I was like, it's too late.
I see.
Next time I'll go after work, so I'll go at 4:30. And then I'll be done at 5:30, get the bus back, and it'll probably be without you for a while until you get your shit together. Until you sort your life out, mate. Until you sort your fucking self out.
Yeah.
But have you done anything else this week? Was the only thing you've done this week failing to go to the gym with me?
That was the only noticeable thing, I think.
Should we give them a quick update on your carpet? It's fine now.
Oh yeah, the carpet is beautiful now. It looks like a carpet.
You could eat a plate of that carpet.
Yeah, you can throw up on that carpet. It's perfect condition. Yeah. It's ripe and plump for throwing up on.
Yeah. All the bits are out.
It's just, plump and subtle, like a beautiful breast.
Yeah.
Right. On a Christmas morn that hasn't yet been thrown up on.
With a gentle autumn breeze.
Exactly. A gentle autumn breeze.
It's like
the sun
is
glistening.
It's like the first individual flake of snow falling gently onto a perky erect nipple or a woman's breast. Yeah.
The skin soft to the touch, and as the wind blows, the breast ripples in the moonlight. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's enchanting. Welcome to episode 37.
Again,
I'm your host, Bradley.
And we are actually mostly going to be talking about Echo.
We are.
Yeah.
Because it came out today. We're recording this on the 10th. Unless you're weird American, in which case it came out on the 9th, technically. But when it came out for you, it turned midnight on the 10th for us. So it's the 10th.
Wow. Time. What a concept.
Should we just talk about that, actually?
Time.
How mad time is.
The waves of time wash endlessly upon the beach as we, mere speckles of sand, get blown away into the tide.
Can I actually say the quote?
Yeah,
You're trying to quote a friend of mine called Sam, who would have been a friend of the podcast. We did record an episode with him, but we were very drunk and we recorded it on our phones.
Like, that would be a good idea.
Like, it would be a good idea, and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It sounded awful. Yeah. But I once, because me and him are friends from college, and we were talking about Doctor Who, actually, and I put, imagine, it's insane to think that the Day of the Doctor is 10 years old. Then I put, Jesus Christ, time is inevitable and age is never ending, death comes to us all. And he just responded with that, it is crazy. The march of time is unending. We are mere grains of sand that the waves of time wash over and carry away into the deep. And I went down and I was like, oh, this guy knows me so fucking well.
Poetic genius. That's beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
But yeah, let's talk a bit about Echo. What did you think? Because I think your perspective is very interesting, because you're someone who's come into this having not only not watched Daredevil, so you don't know about the Kingpin, but also not watched Hawkeye, so you don't know about Echo. Yeah. So you're just watching it from a completely fresh perspective. And with that in mind, what did you think?
I
don't really care.
Oh, okay.
Let me talk about what I think. Okay, go ahead.
Well, being as you do indeed have the bigger breasts, the double D.
I said about 20 minutes ago that I thought I was fat.
Oh my god!
And you're fat shaming me about my double D delicious
well,
breasts.
I guess I'll go first, because I guess my breasts are actually bigger.
Your breasts are
secrets. You've never seen them, and you never will see them.
You wear one of those,
too
like,
big to behold.
You wear one of those Victorian binders, and if you were to ever unzip it, it would go zzz, boom, and it would explode into a million pieces.
It's dangerous, yeah. But what did I think? I thought that overall it was pretty bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought the cinematography was nice. I thought. Some of the set design was nice. I thought the lighting was nice. I thought the acting, overall, some of the actors were good. A lot of the main actors were pretty bad. The main character, the protagonist, she was a bad actress, whatever you want to call it. The Kingpin, great actor.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
The grandfather and grandmother, I think, actually, you know what? Almost all of the actors, apart from the protagonist, I thought were okay. And also, but then again, pretty much all of the child actors were pretty bad, but they always are.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of weird bits that were included into it, like bits like flashbacks to the history of the Indian tribes, or
was it the
Choctaw. I don't know. The native Indian, Native American tribal people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a little bit of a mess, a little bit boring. Not much action in the places where you thought there'd be loads of action, and then where there was action, the action wasn't very well choreographed.
See, I feel like a mistake we've both just made is that we're almost talking about it like it's a movie, which it might as well be. That's the first thing I'll say about it. There's the fact that this is a TV show is funny to me, because it doesn't need to be. It does nothing with the medium. In fact, it being a TV show is bad, because it's so endlessly repetitive. And what happens in this show? What is the plot? What's the story?
The plot is that, so there's a little girl, and her and her mother are deaf, and they get involved in a car crash because her father is involved with bad people, and so she then goes to New York with her dad, and her dad gets killed by the Kingpin, which she doesn't know.
Well, he gets killed by, again, because you haven't seen Hawkeye one night, so he gets killed by Hawkeye.
Who is hired by the Kingpin?
No. So Hawkeye was Ronin during this time, which we saw in Endgame, and he went after his guys because he was given an anonymous tip, and that was what the Kingpin did.
I see.
So he didn't hire Hawkeye, he gave him the tip that led him there.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. And then the Kingpin takes in Actually, we're going to rewind that whole bit because I realised I missed out an important part. When she goes back to New York with her dad, she somehow forms a bond with the Kingpin, which isn't really explained at all. It's not explained where the fuck he came from, how he became so close to her, and yet we're constantly getting all these flashbacks and bits where he's like, I'm like a father to you, you're like a daughter to me, I've been there by your side. How the fuck... How?
Again, that's it's explained in Hawkeye, but that's the bad people her dad were in business with was the Kingpin.
I see.
And yeah, he became like an uncle figure.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's like, and then there's an ice cream man which he beats the shit out of, and there's several other bits, and then
not only does he beat the shit out of the ice cream man, but then Maya comes in and gives him a few kicks.
Yeah, Maya comes in
and he's like, "You're special, Maya. When I was a boy, I could only imagine kicking." Yeah.
And then she goes on a rampage and kills people, basically.
The main thing she does in this is she does like a train trap where she sets a bomb on a train and it blows up a warehouse of the Kingpin. And that's like the main thing she does, because she's not a very active protagonist. That's the main thing she actively does.
She does almost nothing.
Yeah, but that's like the only thing she really does actively. And that's episode 2 of 5.
Yeah.
Most of what she does is reactionary, which is a problem. Now, you say you don't like the actress. In my opinion, it's not necessarily the actress. I think this is a very stilted character. This isn't a character who's really feeling anything other than what her face is showing. Like there's like one, maybe 2 scenes where she smiles and the rest of it is just her doing that face.
Yeah, but I mean even the Kingpin has more has more to his performance than her.
Yeah, but the Kingpin is a more emotional character. He has like more anger, and vengeance and sorrow. He doesn't want to see Maya doing this. I think that there's a bit in episode 4, I think it is, where he gives her that contact lens and he wants them to have a dinner and he gives her the wine and the cookies. That's real. Like he really didn't want to have to do what he did and go after Maya and threaten to kill her family. I think he really did want to reconnect. Maya never has any emotion like that. She doesn't want to reconnect with anything. She's just constantly out for the Kingpin. Even scenes of her grandparents and when she meets Bonnie and shit, she's just angry all the time. And that's not necessarily the actress's fault. It's the character. It's very
I suppose going off the character perspective then, the character is not very likeable as a protagonist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see more of this character. I'm not like, I don't like or root for the character.
Yeah.
The character had no sort of like care for her family or friends.
No breasts either.
No breasts either, yeah.
Yeah.
And her mum's breasts, they were huge, alright.
They weren't huge, but her grandmother and her great grandmother before her.
And there were many fight scenes, alright, and they're fighting and her breasts are huge.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know if she's going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But then another girl comes in. Her breasts are pretty big and she comes in and backs her up, and with their combined breastal power, they take down the world.
Their breasts merge into 2 super breasts.
Super breasts that destroy the enemy.
Yeah.
But I didn't think the character was engaging or interesting.
That's the thing. She's so incredibly reactionary. She's not an active protagonist. It's hilarious to me that she does more and it has a more active part in Hawkeye's story than her own. Because in this, again, after she does the train thing, she stops doing anything and everything starts happening to her. That guy who works with her uncle cleaning the fucking,
Yeah, that's true.
That he
Everything
kidnaps
is just
her,
happening to her.
and then the Kingpin just suddenly arrives, and then suddenly she's having the psychic bursts, and she doesn't even go to her grandmother. She gets taken to her grandmother,
Yeah.
and then she leaves the grandmother, and she's like, okay, I am gonna kill him. And then she goes to the hotel and she gets captured. And then, she just walks away and then she has to go back. She stops doing things and things just start happening to her.
See, perhaps that must be intentional then. I feel like it would be too strange if almost the entirety of this season is like that and they didn't do that on purpose. Maybe they did that on purpose.
Maybe, but there are characters who... for example, there was Captain America, for example. Now, Captain America is a very active character, but there's something unique about Captain America that separates him from almost every other MCU character. Do you know what it is?
His huge breasts.
It's not his huge, although he does have huge breasts.
He does have huge breasts.
So does Black Widow. Yeah. No, what's
and her breasts are huge.
But what separates Captain America from every other MCU character is that he is the only one who, in all his movies, doesn't grow. He doesn't have a character arc, because that's the point. He starts off perfect and the world gets worse around him. That's what Civil War is all about. The fact that he's so committed to his morals that he's not willing for a second to grow as a character. He's not willing to change. That's a really unique aspect. So if you do have a character like Maya and you do decide, and it is intentional, you're like, no, she's going to be reactionary. Everything is going to happen to her and we're going to see her respond. It's like, well, why? Because that angle with Captain America is interesting. He's seeing corruption and he's not letting it break him down. That's why Civil War is so interesting. Because you see that Tony has grown so much, but Cap just refuses to. He refuses to change at all. Why not have Maya be active? It can't be intentional because she is active for the first 2 episodes. She does that thing with the train and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And then she just doesn't do anything. Everything just starts happening to her. They just start throwing shit at her. The last thing she does is that dumb... The final episode's awful. I hate the final episode.
The final episode is absolutely terrible.
I've not seen a bigger anticlimax since the one I had with your mum, Hector.
God damn it.
It is so anticlimactic. And it's even dumber because, like... So she it's set up for huge action set pieces. Look at the other Disney shows.
Yeah, they've brought and in that final scene, the end, they bring all of the chess pieces together onto the board.
Yeah,
you know, they've got all of the action is ready to happen.
The Uncle and Biscuits are outside. There's guys with snipers and a truck full of guys.
A guy with a bazooka. The Kingpin is there.
Yeah, the Kingpin's there with 12 guys in a fucking barn holding her grandmother and her cousin hostage. Maya's there and she's defeated. Look at any other Marvel show. They all end in big action set pieces. I was there being like, holy shit, this is gonna be wicked. And then she has like a little edited flashback of all her things, all the echoes of generations.
All of her mothers and grandmothers.
Yeah, all of them tremendous breasts.
Yeah, huge breasts. Yeah.
And then the fight begins and I was like, oh snap, this is going to be... Oh, it's done.
Yeah, basically she has this flashback and she gives her powers...
She basically, it's almost like an Iron Fist. She basically gains access to her chi. And focuses her core, and then it's like
So she beats these 5 guys inside the barn, and then
even her grandmother and her cousin suddenly get access to it, and they start beating the shit out of it. And it's
it lasts like less than 30 seconds, and then she puts her hands on the Kingpin's face and like heals him, and that's it.
Yeah, well, she doesn't heal him physically, but we see like a little shot inside his mind where he's him, and we hear his dad beating his mum, and he's got the hammer, and she's like, give me the hammer. Well, she's saying it in sign language, but you just have to imagine that. I could do it. So it's not as effective in an audio podcast.
It doesn't work.
But she's like, give me the hammer, and he's like, no, give me it. Oh, right. And then he suddenly stands up and he's like, what have you done? What did you do? And then it hard cuts to him just driving away.
Yeah.
What happened?
And then all of the other guys with like guns and bazookas, they just get run over. There's Biscuits in this giant monster truck driving towards them, and they just don't see him, don't hear him, and then get crushed by the monster truck. He
legitimately, and Biscuits is like a quite comedic character. He's like goofy, he's fun. He killed 12 men at least in that scene.
Crushed them. Also, another thing, they
see it.
They see it. They're all in vans, right? They're in 2 vans. So they see the front of the van start getting crushed. And what do? They don't get out of the van. They just sit in there and go, and they put their hands in the air and go, and then they
put their hands in the air, almost as if they're grabbing at breast. It's like,
breast. Yeah. And then the guy with the bazooka, he's aiming the bazooka, and then he sees the guy with the pistol aiming at him, and instead of shooting the bazooka, he lifts it up a bit and goes, oh fuck, and then he gets shot and shoots the bazooka into the air. Like, what? That was it?
Yeah.
No fighting, no epic battle. Just
Yeah.
it just
And it's
got
even dumber to me.
dismantled.
It's even worse to me because, you know, that happens and Kingpin drives away. And it's like, what are they trying to have it be that a casual audience member's watching it being like, wow, she fixed the Kingpin. I bet he's a changed man. He's good now. He's going to be a good uncle. No, he's not. You've got an entire Daredevil show coming out where he's still the bad guy. What did she actually do? What's changed? He's not a good guy now. He is the Kingpin. He's the Kingpin.
Also, it was never explained why she was seeing people that looked like aliens.
No, because they're like, her ancestors are like indigenous. They're like Silurians from Doctor Who, I guess. They're like indigenous.
Oh my god, it's like the fucking
Well-
Rick and Morty, or no, the South Park episode.
Well, crab people.
Where, not with the crab people.
the Gabadoos. Whatever they're
No,
called.
the,
Goobacks.
no, not the Goobacks, where
Yeah, about.
the indigenous people come for the stuffing mines and they're actually aliens.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are the Native Americans,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
actually aliens. It was literally that.
It was.
That was literally what it was. Which I thought was kind of dumb.
It is dumb. I remember, especially because, like, I watched her in Hawkeye and it's grounded, and I remember genuinely when it first started and the first scene with those aliens, I didn't say it, but I was thinking to myself, like, is this the right show? And it was. It just was. She suddenly has powers. By the way, that's a coincidence. She suddenly has powers. We just saw an entire season of Hawkeye. She could have used those powers.
Yeah.
Didn't get them. Suddenly, it's been 5 months since I killed the Kingpin, and now everything's going to happen in a week. He's actually going to be alive. I'm going to blow up a train.
There were a lot of very convenient things that happened in the episode, such as well, she was gone for 20 years, right? So she's gone for 20 years. All of the like the family and friend members in the movie, they haven't seen her for 20 years. In the show, yeah. Sorry, it's not a movie, it was a show. Yeah. Right? And then she comes back 20 years later and gets them all like kidnapped by gangsters and almost all killed. Yeah. And they all decide, let's help her.
Yeah.
No. They're not going to fucking do that. She's been gone for 20 years. She comes back and ruins everything, gets everyone almost killed.
They all talk about her like, while she was around, she like changed the world. She was a shining beacon of hope. She was 6.
Yeah.
And
it was 20 years ago. If I had a daughter, she disappeared for 20 years and then came back 20 years later, got me tied up with a gun to my head by gangsters, and then...
And not only that, but you know that she's killed a lot of people.
I know she's killed people, and I know that she has intentionally brought them back here.
Yeah. Right?
Because she actually did that.
She did. She said to her uncle at one point, she's like, you know, he's like, you're going to bring the war here, and she's like, they started it. They drew first blood.
And then she's like, I can handle it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a fucking selfish bitch. And then all of her family is like, we support you. And then they decide to help her.
And they all stand with her.
Like,
and then
what?
her great-grandmothers.
And then her great-grandmother, breasts bouncing in the gentle breeze. Alright, okay.
Is it time we explain
Okay, right. So you may have noticed, if you're listening, that there have been a lot of very crude, very childish breast bits inserted into this podcast. That's because while we were watching this... There's a scene where we go into her granddad's workshop by the looks of it, and there's like bikes.
No, it's like a porn. It's like a. What is that?
It's a pawn shop.
It's a pawn shop / like garage.
And like
he's
a
making
workshop.
shit. Yeah, like a workshop.
It's like a place that he owns, and he sells shit.
It's a building.
It's a building that he owns. He sells shit and he makes shit, right? It's like one of those classic places. Yeah. And he's he's got pottery in there. He's got like bikes in there, and doohickeys that he's made and selling. And then we get the camera pans to this little figurine. Little figurine which he's obviously made, and it's of like their ancestors, and it's a naked woman who has huge tits, like giant fucking tits,
like bigger than her hips,
like absolutely ginormous tits, like double G, double F, like double J.
And Maya picks it up and signs, "Who is this?" And he's like, "That's your your ancestor.
That is your ancestor. And then from that point on, we just because
we realised with every new flashback there was an opportunity to make the joke.
Yeah.
Because they were always saying lines too. So, okay, it also shows, because it is immature, but it also shows kind of the fact that this show was kind of boring.
It was, yeah.
Because anytime we got the opportunity, the funniest line of the entire night is that Maya gets kidnapped by these two women, and one of them, must be admitted, has significantly big chonkers. And at one point, this is a 2-part joke. Maya looks through the window and sees her, and you said, you went, oh, I don't know if I can take her. As if Maya
she looks back to Bonnie and she looks at her and she says, she looks at her tits and then she looks down at her owns and she looks up at Bonnie and says, I don't think I can take her.
Which I died at. I thought that was hilarious. But then later in the episode, Maya makes like a bolt gun or like it shoots nails, and she comes in and again she's got very big tits, and I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. She's going to shoot at her massive tits and the bullets are going to ricochet off, and then no less than 5 seconds later she does exactly that.
She fires at her gigantic tits
and
the
they
ricochet off.
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then after that we just started making more jokes. Like we joked that because obviously Maya's mother died. That's because she didn't have the big breasts. You know, her breasts were small and dainty, and so she died horrifically. You know, and Maya doesn't have big breasts either, and that's why she's special.
And neither does her grandmother, but that is because her grandmother got breast reduction surgery to save the world. Her breasts were so powerful and so strong that they could single-handedly decimate all of civilization.
Yeah. And again, it's a crude joke. It's silly. And we'll stop making it on the podcast now.
We will, yeah.
But it kind of does show how boring the show was, that we had to be making really childish jokes to entertain ourselves. And we were making them to the very end.
We were.
Like we joked that the final boss battle would be her versus the Kingpin, and the Kingpin would be like, you don't know how far in you are, and he'd take off his shirt and reveal giant truck-sized breasts.
He'd be like, you want to see real power? Then rips off his shirt, revealing a humongous set of breasts.
And she'd scream and run, and then
her grandmother and Bonnie would just form together to form a giant pair of breasts, and then battle to death.
It'd be the battle of the breasts. And the echo, that she's called Echo because of the echo of her generations, but I thought it was the echo of her thunderous breasts clapping together. Like, just really silly jokes, but we had to make it. That's even worse. It's a 5-episode show, 3.5 hours. Not only is it pretty boring, but what does it do? What actually happened in this show?
It was incredibly pointless.
I'm going to say something actually that could be controversial, but I want to know if you agree with me. Do you think this would have just been 2 hours? This might be bad actually, me saying this. Do you think it would have been less than, what length do you think it would have been, essentially, if they could just talk normally? How much do you think the sign language aspect and them having to enunciate after every sign, how much do you think that slowed down the runtime?
I think that would have slowed it down, not by loads. You maybe could have shaved off like half an hour. I think there's half an hour you could have shaved off. Yeah,
I don't know. It's a lot of it. A lot of the show is sign language. Almost.
It is, but it's not. It's not dramatically slower, right?
I disagree. There is. They proved it was dramatically slower whenever they, in that scene with the grandmother, where they cut to her narrating in the forest, and then they cut back. So she'd be in the forest, she'd be showing that, and she'd be like, when your mother was born, they took me in the forest so I could be surrounded by my sisters. And then it would cut back to her, and she'd be like, I needed time, your generations.
That's true, yeah.
It is quite a dramatic difference.
It is, but I would say, I'd say it could shave off half an hour, which is a lot of time. But I think, you could shave off half an hour.
Alright, say it's only half an hour that's shaved off. Let's say it's around 3 hours long, endgame length. What the fuck happened? This could have easily have just been Not even 2 hour. This could have been an hour 40 movie.
It could, yeah. Very little happens, and
Very
actually also
little
on the topic of the sign language, in my opinion, the enunciating of the sign language was in many cases like jarring and stupid because it just didn't work. Like the pacing of sign language is different from speaking, and I feel like that just kind of broke it up a bit and made it a bit more unbearable to watch.
It was annoying whenever it was an argument. Because, I mean, you can say that the actress playing Maya is a bad actress, but she doesn't need to talk to show that she's angry. But then you've got her uncle being like, "You are killing us. I am angry." You should be able to show that, brother.
The scenes where they weren't talking at all and just doing sign language flowed a lot better. Yeah.
Actually, I think the worst scene for that is there's that bit where she meets her uncle for the first time in his roller skating club.
Yeah.
And she's like, "We need to talk in private." And then they go to the office and he's saying everything he's signing. It's like, no, you didn't. You, Mr. Uncle, just needed to shut the fuck up and sign.
Yeah.
The only reason you needed to go to the office somewhere private is because you can't sign without speaking out loud.
Yeah.
For some reason. You don't have to do it. She can't hear you.
Yeah.
You're speaking for you.
Yeah. It is better without speaking, I think. Yeah. You don't need to hear the dialogue for something to be good.
See, for a character like Kingpin, it makes sense because Kingpin, again, they called it out. He doesn't care enough to actually learn sign language. So it makes sense that he's like maybe having to think about it. That's another thing, actually. All the family members knew sign language fluently, but they hadn't seen her in 20 years.
Yeah.
Who have they been signing to in that time? It's not, I doubt, I refuse to believe it's a case where you could learn it, do it for 6 years, and then 20 years later still be absolutely fluent. No way.
Yeah, no way.
So they've just been practicing?
Also, when they were using sign language 6 years ago, it wouldn't have been their primary language. It would have only been when they were talking to her.
Yeah, the mum.
Right.
The mum was
also the mum. Yeah. So
actually, it makes sense that the grandma maybe.
Yeah.
But like the cousin, both the cousins,
and Bonnie.
Well, Bonnie's the cousin.
Oh right, yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Bonnie makes no sense. Yeah, makes no sense.
Also, I just realised, who is Bonnie and Biscuit's dad? Is it the uncle? Because he doesn't have a single scene with Biscuits. Yeah. But for real, who is their dad? Is it on their mother's side or father's side? They don't explain that.
There are many things that aren't explained very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why did the grandparents break up? When clearly
that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. He still loves her, and they were still there'd be no reason for them to break up. That didn't make any sense to me either.
That was like needlessly added conflict.
Yeah.
For like genuinely no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't love it. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot to talk about it. The main reason I was excited for this show was that I knew that my main man, Matthew M. Murdoch, which isn't his name, Matthew Murdoch, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, Daredevil, was going to appear. I was hyped. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not an idiot. This isn't Echo X Daredevil, the TV show. I was like, okay, 5 episodes, maybe 2. Maybe 2. I saw it as maybe he'd be introduced at the very end of episode 3 and he'd be in episodes 4 and 5 and he wouldn't be the main character of those episodes suddenly, but he'd be there to help. They're both up against the Kingpin. So I was like, you know what? I'm a little bit hyped. And then halfway through the first episode, there's a fight scene with him and I was like, oh shit, already? Damn! I mean, the scene's fine. It's not great. It's not a great fight scene. It's nowhere near the best. I wouldn't even put it into top 10 fights Daredevil's ever been in. And I was like, oh man, they've got me early. And then he never appears again.
Yeah. I mean, the first episode was paced horribly.
Yeah, let's talk about that specifically, because again, I'm coming at it from a perspective of someone who knows about the character because they've seen Hawkeye, who knows about the Kingpin because they've seen Daredevil.
Wait, and Daredevil was in the first episode, or was that the second episode?
It was the first.
It was the first, yeah. I remember we got like halfway through the first episode, I said, this is shit.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, Yeah, it was really bad, especially the scenes where she was still a child.
Yeah.
The whole time, the whole way through that, I was thinking, wow, this is really bad. I should give it some time. Maybe.
And it's hilarious because a lot of that stuff is literally ripped from Hawkeye. Like the bit where like the bit where she's talking to the dad like a dragon's will, and then her in the fighting dojo where he comes up and he's like,
yeah.
All of that was in Hawkeye. We'd seen that. We saw that little arc. And then they add it in and they do some expanded stuff. Like the whole flashback of her seeing Ronin and then that little scene with Hawkeye. That's just from Hawkeye. And when you put it together in this way, I mean, again, even from someone like me who's seen it all, I was like, this is gibberish. This must be incomprehensible to someone who hasn't seen it, because what the fuck are you watching?
It was just a bit of a mess of like weirdly paced.
Yeah, I do think there were. I mean, not think. The show got better as soon as it cut to 5 months later, and it was in present day, and she went back to her hometown,
which I was expecting it to. I got the idea. Okay, this is like they're like kind of montage thing,
but they didn't need to do that. The first flashback where it shows where her mother died, very fair. Yeah, keep that. That's nice. I thought it was a nice little scene. Everything after that, where it's literally just recapping Hawkeye, you don't have to do... Hawkeye exists. If they didn't watch Hawkeye, that's their problem. It's not your problem, Marvel. Yeah. You don't need to do... Imagine if they did that in all of it. Imagine if the first 45 minutes of Avengers was recapping the events of Iron Man 2, 4, The Incredible Hulk.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Captain America, really the first event.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. Just begin 5 months later.
No. Yeah, it was bad. And then also the only scene that Daredevil was in, I didn't think the fighting was that good.
It wasn't. No. It was nowhere near as good. A lot of the... Okay, I don't think... Her name's... it's like... I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to quickly figure it out. Alakwa, I guess, is the actress who plays Maya. Alakwa Cox. This is her first role. You know, this and Hawkeye are first roles. I think it's clear to me, and don't get me wrong, it's clear to me that she can fight, but there's a difference between being an actual fighter and... Because I believe that she's had martial arts training or stuff, but there's a big difference between that and fight choreography.
Yeah.
And it was off the mark.
Yeah.
Like, again, the one bit I pointed out in the Daredevil fight was a bit where she swings her leg to kick and she slows down mid-kick so that she can wait for Daredevil's head to get into position. Now, again, Charlie Cox played Daredevil for 3 years and then, you know, he kept, you know, the guy knows what he's doing. He does his stunts himself. She did her stunts herself. I simply think... I don't even think it was necessarily bad choreography, because if that happened faster, it would have been great. I simply don't think she was ready for that level of choreography. She was up against someone who did that for 3 years professionally. And it wasn't as if it was ages ago. It was 2015 to 2018. And The Defenders. 2019, mate. No, 2018. Like, that's like putting a amateur boxer against Mike Tyson in an actual fight. Like, he probably, you know... It's not a case where, he wasn't quick enough snapping her head. No, she probably started the kick too early.
I think that kind of theme of not being quite up to scratch kind of echoes throughout the whole show. Because, I mean, even on the storytelling aspect of it, it was pretty plain. Yeah. Like there wasn't really anything that bold or that interesting that happened. There weren't really any insane twists or any insane fights, anything interesting.
It was all just incredibly underwhelming.
Yeah.
Really. Even the best fight in the show, which is, again, it's such a short, 5 episodes? That says a lot too. You couldn't even stretch it to 6.
Yeah. 6
is like, in my opinion, the minimum.
Yeah.
If I was to write a show, and I do, I'm a scriptwriter.
That's what you do.
I would never leave it on 5. I would do 6. You know what I could imagine happening? I could imagine they wrote 6 episodes, and then as they were getting into pre-production, they read through the scripts and they were like, not a lot's happening. we need to tighten it. Alright, just cut some scenes here. Make it 5 episodes. It's tighter, yes. But you've just cut stuff. You haven't actually added anything. If nothing's happening and you cut stuff, it's going to be tighter. But there's still an absence of anything happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Overall, not that great. I wouldn't watch it again. Didn't really enjoy it, but
I couldn't see myself watching it again. And if I did, I would only really watch it. The only time I could think I'd ever watch it again is when Daredevil's show comes back and Kingpin is the main villain, and I would only really watch the Kingpin scenes because he's great in this.
The Kingpin is great in this.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio. He's been, he is the Kingpin.
Yeah. He's a great actor.
He is a great actor. You should, if you enjoy him, seriously, we should watch Daredevil at some point because it's one of my favourite shows ever. I fucking dig that. Season 3 of Daredevil especially. I think I've mentioned before how my favourite season of television ever is season 4 of Dexter. I think that season is so goddamn solid.
I'm pretty sure you showed that to me.
We started watching it, but then I got distracted with life. But
was it season 4 that we started watching?
Yeah.
It was.
Because I was like, look, I'll fill you in. You need to watch this season. It's the best.
Yeah.
And I still believe that. But I would say season 3 of Daredevil is like, of all the TV seasons I've seen, that's like a top 5 season.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn solid. I'm creaming just thinking about it, to be honest. This chair that I'm sitting on, you're going to have to get a new one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because it's so good. Season 2's fine. Season 2 is the weakest season, but it also has the Punisher in. And the Punisher's fucking sick, brother. So it's very watchable still.
So,
yeah.
Well, what would you rate Echo, from 0 breasts to 10 breasts? How many breasts would you rate it?
Hector, that joke is childish, immature. It's over. We said it was over.
Sorry, yeah,
I'm not indulging this. You know what you need to do? You need to become an ally. Okay, you need to start reading some rich feminist literature.
Oh, feminist literature. There might actually be some feminist literature on that bookshelf.
I'm looking at your bookshelf. I see various copies of Mein Kampf. And also a book about Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where we put all of the feminist books. They're probably somewhere else right now.
There's a book written by your mum, which is true. Hector's mum is an author. And
is it up there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's over there.
Which is true, by the way. Hector's mum is an author. We're never going to reveal who she is. Read every book by a woman. and then eventually you'll read Hector's mum's book, Yeah. But yeah, I would give it 4 breasts out of 10.
Nice. Yeah. I'd give it a low 5. I'd give it a low 5 simply because I think some of the cinematography was good. I think some of the editing, while the reasoning behind it was questionable, a lot of the editing was well done.
Yeah, but here's the problem here's why I'm going to argue with your 5. I'm not going to argue too heavy, but writing a TV show is kind of different to writing a movie. You've really got to take into account the format. It's a television show. This isn't a 5-part movie. It feels like one.
It does feel like one.
But it's not. It's a TV show. Would you really say what you just watched? Because 5 is like average. Would you really compare that to an average season of television?
See, in my mind, we just watched a movie. It feels like we just...
So if you were rating it as a movie, you'd rate it as 5. It'd be an average movie. Yeah. I wouldn't even necessarily disagree with that. But it's not. It's a show. That's not an average season of television. That is a below average season of television.
Yeah, but the show, you're supposed to be interested in more of the characters.
Exactly. It's supposed to build up characters. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. What is Bonnie's motivation? Who is Bonnie as a person?
Who the fuck is Bonnie?
What are her likes and dislikes?
Yeah, she was her friend, and then 20 years has passed, and...
If you think that's let's stick with 5 episodes. I challenge you to watch the first 5 episodes of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Game of Thrones, and then watch those 5 again. And think of those 5. And this is going to prove it even more, because that's not a whole season of television at all. There's going to be endless plot threads yet to be answered. But you'll still watch those 5 episodes and be like, wow, that was more satisfying than the entirety of what should be a show. It's below average. It's a below average show.
Yeah, it is. I see what you mean. Yeah. Actually, as a show, that is way below average.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think I doubt we'll... I'm not going to say we'll never see Echo again. I think we will. But I don't think this show is going to get a second season. I think it's a one and done. I'd be very shocked if we got another Echo season.
Yeah. Like you said, they released all of the episodes in one go. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. Because Disney Plus specifically haven't done that. They've done it weekly. Apart from What If Season 2, where because it released... By the way, that's out. That's done. What If.
Oh, What If?
Season 2.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, we need to watch that. We really need to watch that.
Unfortunately, it was actually pretty shit.
Oh, really?
And they released it once a day over Christmas, essentially, from the 22nd to the 31st.
Oh, I still want to watch it, though.
We can still watch it.
Yeah.
But that gave me warning bells, because I was like, one a day. Whenever, because it's not the same with Netflix. Netflix does that in order to build up that hype, because binge watching is an integral part of their formula. But when Disney Plus does it, it's almost the exact reverse. They want to sweep it under the rug. Not only do they not want, but I don't think people are still going to be talking about it in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? And that's, when I heard Echo was all going to be released on the same day, I had initial warning bells. I was like, oh no. And I was right. I was correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a shorter one, but I do think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a huge amount of stuff to talk about, but we did some funny bits. We explored some cool fun bits, and we went over Echo. Yeah. So, there we go. That's what
and to be fair, you know what? Let's give ourselves some credit. It might be a short episode, but we did... I mean, it was only 5 episodes. But we technically just watched an entire season of television in one day for you guys. Again, it was only 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
But forget about the one. We just watched an entire... Not even a season, actually, because that will be it. We just watched an entire TV show.
Yeah, just for this podcast.
So be grateful. Exactly, you pieces of shit. I think that's it.
Apart from that, we breast you all a good night, and
I hope you have a good night, breast.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Are we ending it there?
I think so. I can't think of any other topics.
I was talking to the audience. Audience, do you think we're ending it there? Look at the one time. We are. Yeah, there's no trick.
There's no extra bits. Yeah, we're doing once a week now.
Yeah.
Be happy with 1 hour. Yeah.
Oh, actually, should we? Nah. I'm not even gonna say it.
What?
I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, no. There's nothing. I'm joking. All right, but yeah. Take care, everyone. We wish you all a happy Halloween. Bye.
Wait, what?